Hey y'all,
I'm Courtney.
I'm Sarah.
And this is Bodice Tipplers.
The podcast where we read all the books we used to steal off our grandma's nightstands.
And then we drink about it.
This is a special Zoom episode. I haven't seen Courtney since March 14th or something.
I know, it's wild. So
we couldn't handle it anymore, so we're doing this. I mean, I learned how to do Zoom through my 5-year-old's kindergarten class.
Yeah, so you're an expert. Yeah,
I'm an expert. We should give you a little warning about the book that we read. It's called Fanta-C. It's by Sandra Brown. It has a classic ravishing in it, but it has a classic ravishing in a book where it does not belong. So this is a kind of a realistic contemporary romance with just nice people doing nice people things. And then all of a sudden there's it's a true ravishing. She says no, but she means yes, and she's into it. But it was completely out of place, and it is going to bother some people. So we're going to let you know about that before anything else.
Yeah. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go further with it. This is going to be weird. I'm going to try not to look at my face and be
I know it's really, really, really hard. I can't better.
You just see all the Courtney quirks and stuff. So how is everybody? How are you? How's quarantine Sarah doing?
Fucking shitty.
It sucks.
I can't concentrate on anything. I should have read so many books. Normal Sarah would have read so many books by now. I didn't even finish editing. I did one more video for Plague Kitchen. By the way, you should go listen to our Plague Kitchen shit on our YouTube channel. Except I didn't do the one on beans. My closest to my.
That's your moneymaker. That's your moneymaker show.
I know. I close to my heart.
Yeah.
But I haven't even edited it because I just can't. I'm just a slug. I'm actually attached. When they come to break me out of the building, they're gonna have to take out the window and they're gonna have to get the hot knife between me and the couch.
Yeah, you're gonna be like the mom in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, where they just have to burn the house down. Dude, I feel it. I've been pretty good. I feel like when it first started, I was super just fuck it, I'm gonna drink and eat all the things, and I've pulled that back, and I'm on a regular workout schedule and all that stuff. But I'm so just over it. But what are you gonna do?
You've got your caftans.
I do have my caftans. Ooh.
Yeah. This is my Mima nightgown and house dress.
Very nice. So yeah, I've fully embraced the caftans. They give me joy. I order way too many of them, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do to get through this shit. So,
see, I'm still boostering the Mima nightgown and house coat pair. It's that people don't realize. They think that the nightgowns that your grandma used to wear, that they don't understand that that's part of a system. Okay. Because they're perfect for the South. They're super light. You can breastfeed in them. They're great.
You're ready. You've got
Mima's nipples. And why were they only
just slap a boob out? You're ready to go.
But they come. You get a house coat, and that way the UPS man doesn't see all your business. It's warmer, and you get pockets. So you get the best of both worlds. Yes, highly recommended.
Love it.
This one has snaps. So if I want to be a stripper,
the worst stripper in the world.
Times.
I was just imagining that stripper shtick. That would be awesome if some stripper came out in her house coat and was just and her those pink slide in house shoes.
The velour ones. Yeah, I think they're from Isa Turner. I don't know where they come from. You don't buy them.
They just show up. You're just in your house. I've got a couple. I'm where does this come from? I don't wear them.
And they only come when you get a varicose vein, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's
on your ankles, you have to have
very
smoke.
special gift.
I've never smoked. That's why I don't have them. I've never smoked.
Yeah. All right. So what are we watching, reading, whatevering? You're trying to read.
Our shout outs first.
Oh yes. Okay. So our shout outs today are 2 friends of mine, or three people that I know, and none of them have been very helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you stories about them, because all they have done is just said, I can't think of anything, just whatever. So the first shout out is to Patreon member Kelly Frazier, who is my big sister, and this shout out is basically just everybody give her a round of applause, because she is a nurse and she is on the front lines dealing with all of this insane stuff. And on top of that, she just bought a house like right before all this happened. So she's been moving and all of that stuff. So thank you, Kelly, and thank you, all of you healthcare workers, everybody who works in the hospital, from the orderlies to the maintenance staff to nurses and doctors, for dealing with some truly insane shit. You're doing a thing that I could not do. So thank you for that. The next one is Adrienne Jennings. Adrienne lives in Colorado. She used to live here and is a good friend of mine. And she is one of my, she's like my X-File partner in crime. So when the new series came on, we got so excited. And
then you got unexcited real quick.
No, we pre-gamed a little too hard, and Christopher described it as he looked over and we were sitting on the couch side by side with our heads like this, and we slept through the entire thing. So
I wish I had. I really wish I had. I did not enjoy it.
We could make up our own thing.
Yes.
And then our last one is Kim R, and Kim is in Florida. And Kim is somebody I used to work with. We both worked at this awful medical office. And the best story about Kim is there was this really terrible racist girl that worked there who was a little bit older than Kim. And Kim got in trouble because, according to the girl, Kim called her an ugly old witch. And when confronted about it, Kim said, "I never said ugly." So she's fairly awesome. And so thank you to the three of y'all for supporting our little podcast and, helping us keep the lights on and stuff. So
you would like to support what?
Yeah. Also, before we do, we our Warrior Woman is finally on its way.
Oh, yeah.
Its first stop, it's on its way to Virginia, and then after that, I think it'll be heading to Texas. But if you want it to come to you, and you want to sign the book, take a picture of it, and then send it on, just go ahead and message us. You can email us at bodicetipplers@gmail.com. You can send us a message on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram.
If you want to read it, you can, but I'm not sure I would really recommend that, especially if you actually enjoy sci-fi.
Yeah.
And if you would like to join our Patreon also, you can go to patreon.com/bodicetipplers, or you can go to bodicetipplers.com and see the big fat link. We will send you stickers and stuff. It's fun. Currently, for the duration of the pandemic, all of our Patreon only subscriber material is available to everybody. So please go and enjoy that.
Our Courtney's Otaku Journey. We've had the Play Kitchen and some other stuff. Yeah. Oh, and then on the 16th of this month, we are doing a kind of Rona read along, and you can find information about that on our Patreon as well.
Yeah, it's a book that I read actually in college. I read a lot of romances when I was a tween, and then I didn't read them again until I was in college. And when exams would get really intense, I would go to the grocery store, because you used to be able to get romance at the grocery store, and I would find the dumbest looking romance I could find, and that was my exam read. This is about a time-traveling Viking who gets taken to, I guess, 90s America by a talking.
I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, my cousin Wade wrote this wonderful screed about how his name is completely ahistorical and doesn't make sense as a Viking name. So I'll make sure to share that material as well. Baby, you haven't even seen The Whale.
Man, yeah, you're a novice at this. Names, come on. We get Jennifer.
They're usually called Tiffany. I mean. So what are you drinking, Courtney?
I am drinking Hope's End. I felt it was very appropriate. Yeah. It's an Australian red blend it says run away to the dark side to a place called Fort Misery, South Australia.
Oh.
So, yeah, kind of, I think where everybody's mode is right now. So
I'm drinking wine from a box.
Get it?
But evidently it won 70 gold medals and it's 34 best buys.
I've gone through the other box wines. I feel you.
Well, but 46. What were the ones that they were oh well, this wine is the best, but really you should spend even less money on your wine and buy.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I don't know, but I'm gonna get.
I told you at the beginning of all this, I panic bought a box of Franzia.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was there's not gonna be anything left. I need this Franzia. So. Yeah.
I mean, I went crazy at Costco, but I didn't buy Franzia.
Oh God, it was terrible too. I mean, it's gone. But
yeah, I mean,
Franzia is that. It was that thing where you've already gone through a good amount of wine, and you're all right, getting the Franzia now. So That's the only way you can do Franzia is like if every nerve ending is dead in your mouth before you can do it.
Oh yeah, my grandpa used to like it because he liked that rosé, which was even worse than like a Behringer White Zinfandel.
That's so gross.
He
It's
really
so bad.
enjoyed a glass of wine, and he really enjoyed playing host. And you're like, even when I was like 22, and I did drink White Zinfandel, like, wow,
Like, this is delicious,
like,
wonderful. I love it. Yeah, no, it's the worst. The worst.
Good times. I did once get a box of wine that was too nasty to drink. It was not like the usual Trader Joe's. It was like some I guess I hope they don't have it anymore. It was like ludicrously cheap, and I brought it home, and I was like, hey, it was like $3 for a box of wine. How bad can it be?
Yeah. You're like, oh no, this was a mistake. Yeah.
I tried it, and it was terrible. And my husband said, well, I'll drink it. I don't know anything about wine. And he tried it, and he was like, oh, God. So we threw it away in the trash can, and we put the cat litter on top of it because we didn't want anybody, like, going through the trash to have the experience of drinking this wine.
That's amazing.
So, anyway, yeah, that's what I'm drinking. Honestly, I prefer the Boda box. You can never find the Old Vine Zinfandel anymore, but that's my favorite.
I like a Boda box. All right, so our author is Sandra Brown. The book, again, is Fanta-C. So Sandra Brown started out life basically as a television reporter. She worked for PM Magazine, and she did, like, I guess, like, she was in Texas, so she wasn't with the PM Magazine that was in Charlotte. So there used to be...
been a franchise, because I remember PM Magazine here, too.
There used to be this, it was like this... I guess it was just regional, like different areas had a different version of PM Magazine, and it was a little 30-minute thing that came on like after the news, but before like the sitcoms. It was like that 7:30 time slot, so you'd have to just sit through it. And I remember PM Magazine because my sister was in college at the time, and it was spring break, but she said that she was staying at school to study, and they were down in New Orleans, and like in Jackson Square, and I'm watching PM Magazine, and my parents are in the other room, and I was like, there's Callie. And they came in, and she's like on top of one of the statues in Jackson Square. And that's how we found out that she went to New Orleans for spring break. But so Sandra Brown, again, started off as a reporter. She started her writing career in 1981 after her husband dared her to. She's published nearly 70 novels, has more than 50 New York Times bestsellers. Her novel French Silk was made into a movie and released in 1994, starring Susan Lucci and Sherry Belafonte. And then she's had a bunch of like the Hallmark mysteries. So,
and we should say, if you couldn't see the cover, it's not fantasy spelled like a person would spell it. It's spelled like the soda and the letters.
Yeah. And it's actually in the book because it's something her sister does. So again, the cover's real nondescript. You know, it's like one of those romance novels that you could pick up and you're not like ashamed to read it on the bus.
But you also can't tell how hot it is.
Yeah.
You know, so, I like knowing, you know, what I'm getting into.
So this is the back cover description. Fanta-C. Elizabeth Burke's days are filled with the business of running an elegant boutique and caring for her two small children. But her nights are long and empty since the death of her husband 2 years before, and she spends them dreaming of love and romance that might have been. Then, Thad Randolph steps into her life, a man right out of her most intimate fantasies. Elizabeth doesn't believe in fairy tales, and she knows all too well that happy endings only happen in books. Now she wishes she could convince herself that friendship is all she wants from Thad. But the day will come when she'll finally have to make a choice, remain forever true to her memories, or let go of the past and risk loving once more.
I apologize to any of our listeners named Thad.
Nobody's named them. Well, I guess maybe if you're a Thaddeus, I don't know.
I was going to say, yeah, I've been reading The Impeachers, and Thaddeus Stevens is all up in that.
I feel like if you're named Thaddeus, then you just go full board. Like, you just Thaddeus. Like, that's badass. Thad is not, like...
Right. So. Yeah, exactly. I kind of think that Theo is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, or you could be I don't know. Well, I guess that's a Theodore.
Yeah. So yeah, Thad almost has to be Thaddeus.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. All right. So the plot.
Thaddeus Stevens is a badass. Thaddeus Stevens.
I mean, I like the name Thaddeus. I'm not arguing with Thaddeus.
It's just Thad. Sounds like a mistake. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, any Thads, but your mother should have thought more about that.
if we have any listeners named Thad, then I want you to like contact us because I need to know.
I will find you a little personalized license plate and send it.
Yeah.
To you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this book. So the book starts off, Elizabeth runs this like fancy lady boutique that is in the lobby of this like bougie ass hotel. Like it's a super fancy hotel.
It sounds like, okay, it's fascinating because like it's almost all men who seem to shop there. It's like fancy chocolates and potpourri and like fancy underpants.
Yeah. And it's like men buy these things for their wives after these business trips, blah, blah, blah.
Or their mistresses or. Yeah,
there's Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth has a sister. I
don't know what her name is.
I can't remember.
Elizabeth is super, super girly, and really she's distressingly obsessed with the idea of what is
feminine. She's prissy. She's like super prissy. She's like, she's very, very like, she's that waif-like type girl. She's got the thin, silvery blonde hair. Like, so she's that archetype like that we've seen in a lot of these books, like the fragile blonde that looks like if you just shake her, she's gonna snap.
And she clearly like believes my grandma, who says only little girls and whores run around bare-legged. Like she's always wearing goddamn pantyhose. But
always in the pantyhose.
Yeah. And it says that she wears petticoats, but clearly they're those rayon fucking flips.
Yeah. All right, so she runs this business. Her sister, like for everything that Elizabeth is prissy and like soft-spoken and cares about what people think of her, her sister don't give a fuck. So her sister is the other end of it. Like her sister is like in like leather suits and, you know, high boots.
Like Elizabeth thinks of her as a feminist and she's like, as a bad word, clearly. Like it's obviously a slur. Like she was a feminist.
Yeah, and so her sister is a physical therapist. We found that out. And then, and again, her sister is one of those that like is always trying to push her out of her comfort zone and that kind of stuff. Her sister got her, the name of the shop is Fanta-C, and her sister got her this license plate that's Fanta-C. As
Fanta-C is taken. And Elizabeth is so upset about it because like, you know, dudes always honk at her, you know.
Yeah.
Which that would be obnoxious. But on the other hand, you named your store Fanta-C. She's trying to be supportive.
And so Elizabeth is like, again, on the outside, super prim, proper, whatever. But the girl is always like having super horny daydreams. And the book gets into these daydreams. So like part of the book obviously is set with Elizabeth, and then it will go into her fantasies. And her fantasies, it's very much ripped from that opening scene from Romancing the Stone, where, you know, you kind of go to this vignette and there's a girl and a guy and they end up in this clutching embrace.
But it's always like very romance tropey.
Yeah, it's
like
all
the
different ones.
like
so we have like a pirate, we have a highwayman, we have like, you know, all of the romance like big hits you get.
It's very much actually about romance novels because it's about women's fantasies and how what the things that women fantasize about might not actually be what they want in real life, or are they? Which is interesting that it drops the ball so bad. But yeah, I liked her a lot in this just because like I'm just found out I have grown-up ADD, but I've always been like a champion daydreamer. So like she's always like zoning out like in her own little like pirate fucking fantasy. And somebody will walk into the show, like into the store, like, ma'am, are you open?
Yeah, exactly. I love that too. Okay, so like that's her, like, she's always daydreaming. So she's got two young kids, Megan and Matt. And then behind her, she has this really cute, like, so she's got this hot neighbor that she's like checked out from afar. He's like a silver fox. And her sister's like, get on it. And she's like, I'm a widow. I can't. So she comes home and she finds that the kitten that she just got her children was stuck up a tree. So she climbs up the tree. The best part is like she throws the cat down to the little girl, and the little girl's like, I'll catch her, and like the cat just drops and like runs off. And I was like, that's pretty cute. And then she's stuck up the tree. She can't get out of the tree because again her petticoat
flip. I bet it was cut to length. Remember how they used to have like 5 lengths and you could cut it?
Oh my god. So she's like stuck up there, and the kids get the neighbor Thad to come help, and they have a very, very cute. In one of the earlier daydream scenes about a stableman like, you know, a stable boy and like this, you know, aristocratic girl, he pulls her off the horse and does like the whole like slow body slide down, and that happens to her with Thad coming down off the tree. It's very cute. And like,
we should point out that actually all of her fantasies do have this ravishing element.
yes,
Like
yes.
In every single one of them, there is that very vintage
yes,
romance.
yeah.
No, yes element.
Yeah. So she has this little meet cute with him, but then she's super prissy and, you know, worried about what people will think. He has this dog that just had puppies, so he invites her and the kids to come over and look at the puppies, and the kids want to go, and she's like, what will the neighbors think about me and my 2 children going into this man's house? And I was like, Jesus.
Garage, into his garage.
This woman is exhausting. So she goes in, she sees the puppies, they have a moment. The kids really like Thad because, again, he's got puppies. Like, he's got puppies in a hammock. Like, he's awesome. He's exotic for the 80s, you know?
Yeah, it's a hammock.
So Elizabeth is very attracted to him, but she just won't, you know, allow herself to pursue anything.
He's very interested. He's clearly like,
yes, but she's like, he's a playboy, he's a dog. I can just tell, I can smell it on him, you know. This is one of those books that always gets me because, like, I have this weird thing with like dialogue where people are like very proper with their dialogue, where she calls her children all the time and not kids, or like, you know, they always call her mother and not mom, and I'm like, you know, yeah.
There's also this weird element of, okay, so her store is in a hotel, and so she does see a lot of men either going to meet their mistresses or going out of town and gonna, you know, and all this, but like the fact that he goes in and like he says something about being familiar with the hotel, and she assumes like, oh, that must mean
she's so judgy about everybody.
Like nobody's been in a hotel before. Like he's never been to a conference. He's never been to the restaurant inside the hotel. He's never, like, you know. Turns out he's a contractor. He owns a concrete business.
She's so judgy. Like, she is so trapped.
I could not handle her. I could not handle this woman.
I know. So okay. They, you know, a week goes by. Her son is always outside playing with Thad because Thad's building like a puppy pen and all this stuff. And basically one day, Matt, the little boy, invites Thad to come along to this like PTA carnival. And, you know, he tells her, he's like, well, moms and dads are invited. And since I don't have a dad, I invited Thad.
Yeah, and he, like, the kid makes a lot of hay out of not having a dad, to drag mom into.
Because, like, I guess Megan, the little girl, was old enough to remember the dad, and he's really not. So, you know, she goes over there and is like, you don't have to come. And, you know, he's like, well, I want to come. And she's like, you do? And he's like, yeah. She's like, all right, well, then whenever it was, they're going to hang out. While this is happening at the hotel, she meets the president of the hotels, comes in, and he's business, you know, like he's like big business, sexy time guy in suits and stuff. And
I thought that she was going to end up in a bad situation in a hotel room with this dude, right?
Her sister is like, watch out for him. Like, he's fun to play with, but don't go falling for him. I felt like there was a backstory there that maybe there's another book about them.
She had strong feelings about it, but maybe, I mean, the sister was also very invested in Thad.
Yeah. Like, the sister is team Thad hard. Like, she is rooting for Thad. But there's this weird thing because he keeps asking about the sister and all this stuff. So
I would read their book.
I would read their book because I feel like it would be a lot more fiery. It'd be a lot more like,
yeah, there's no fire here. It's like a dish rag meets like a nice rag.
Yeah. So I think the hotel president, I think his name's Adam, asked her, like, they just, you know, they have lunch. It's very, very pleasant. She likes him because he's a perfect gentleman and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, she's all like, he knows how to treat a lady. Yeah. He obviously understands traditional gender roles in a way that makes me hot in my panties. You know? Oh, God.
So they go, like, the day of the carnival gets there. Her sister helps her get dressed in something, you know, appropriately boring, but a little bit more fun. Oh, I remember she goes and gets her hair done for it. And she has like this insane hairdo. And
like it's amazingly 80s, and she's embarrassed about it.
It's like, I feel like it was like Heather Locklear hair, you know, just like big and full. And Dad's like, what the fuck happened to your head? And she's like, you know, I got it done. Like, Not like your ponytail that you usually have it in. She's got one of those little limp ponytails.
Oh yeah, just like a yeah.
No body to it. Yeah. Be like, take it out of the ponytail. You're gonna get breakage. So they go to this carnival.
And she's very obsessed with the fact that these are the only kids who don't have a mom and a dad who live together and are married. And the thing is, okay, so I grew up. Now, granted, I'm born in 1980, and I don't remember. Is this book like 84 or something? But okay, so when I was a kid, now granted, I did go to a private school, and so there were a lot of rich people there, and this may not have been like a typical.
Oh, it's 87.
87. So exactly the same time period. And they would have like Father's Day stuff. Well, I mean, obviously Father's Day's in June, but like they would have a dad thing. But they would always be really careful to say, bring your dad or your mother's boyfriend. So I would come home in tears because my mother didn't have a boyfriend because my parents were married. I mean, like almost everybody, like at least half of my classmates were divorced, or they were.
Parents were divorced. 87, like it's a little bit more the norm. So
yeah, I mean, like there's other kids who don't have a dad to bring to this.
They're at this thing, and she's talking about that, but she's also talking about all the moms looking at her.
Well, and they would be because I mean, if it's a small school, I mean, nobody knows me at my kid's school, but like, let's say it's a really tiny school.
Look at this hot guy.
That is hot, girl. You get that?
I know. So
they sit down.
They have a hot dog. The kids go and play while they share their hot dog and coffee. And he talks about he's a Vietnam vet, so they have a little bit of like connection. Talk about the death of her husband, and he talks about Vietnam. And
you should have eaten a corn dog, because you can't eat a corn dog with. As every president has ever learned in Iowa, you can't eat a corn dog without
Oh my God! And so
sorry, YouTube, sorry.
And then they go on a hayride. And basically she has to sit in his lap. And like he gets a little pissed off that he's so gentlemanly with her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's wanting him to put the moves on her. They get home. He says goodnight. He's very, very gentlemanly. And she's pissed about it. The next day, I forgot about this while we were discussing.
It was a hot hayride, by the way. Like the sexual tension is good. Yeah.
So they run into each other at the grocery store.
Oh yeah, and she's a big bitch about it.
He brushes him off, and he calls her like a chameleon. He's like, you know what? You're a reptile. You're a chameleon, and she's offended. I'm like, you just put him on blast in front of everybody.
Yeah, and she was so rude to him. Like, seriously, I forgot about that too. And I mean, the thing is, like, what does he want with her? He could like bang some other MILF.
I know. There's so many. Yeah.
So
she goes to bed. She's all mad at him. She's just, because she's either mad or horny in this book. Like, she has two things. Like, she's never just happy and hanging out. She's either mad or horny, which I get, fine.
How about mad and horny?
That's the best combo. So she goes to bed, and then she remembers that she's left the sprinkler on. And she goes out in her nightgown and turns this little,
a very like gothic
voluminous, one of these jobs, like a Victoria Holt nightgown. It's a very Victoria Holt nightgown.
She turns transparent when it gets wet, so
my gosh. So yeah, she gets wet, and she turns the hose off and turns around, and Thad just comes out of the darkness and like pushes her against the wall, and they have like this really hot fucking makeout scene. It's really well done.
But he was coming over because he realized that her sprinklers were on, so he was actually being super helpful. Which is hot in a man.
Yeah, so they make out hard. It's a good makeout. I enjoyed it. I was here for the makeout.
Yep.
And he's like, why were you being such a bitch? And she's like, because I was mad you didn't put the moves on me earlier. And he's like,
what the fuck? Why didn't you just fucking say that?
And he's like, I can't. Yeah. He's like, I'm sorry I called you a chameleon. Like, he's very apologetic. Like,
shouldn't he?
He's a great dude. He's a great dude. So things are trucking along with him. She really likes him, but then the CEO of the hotels asks her to dinner. And again, he's fancy. So she agrees to it. And it's a Saturday night. She's going to go out with him. And
her sister can't babysit because she already has a pre-existing plan. She says. Now, maybe it's just that she doesn't like this Adam dude.
Yeah. So she asks Thad to come over and babysit.
Which is a dick move.
I mean, that's some big ball like, she's got a set of balls on her. She asked Dad to come and babysit so she can go on this other date when 2 days earlier, he's sucking on her boobs up against the wall. Like, all right. So Thad comes and does it, but is pissed the fuck off about it. So, we go on this date, and it's been set up very much because, again, the sister keeps warning about him and all this stuff, and, like, you feel like something bad is going to happen because they have this nice date, but then he invites her up to his hotel room. And it cuts to black. And you get back to, like, it goes to where she comes back home, and Thad's sitting in the house in the dark, drunk off her liquor.
Okay, no, this is 80s fucking drunk. I mean, by which I mean, he had, like, that much fucking whiskey, and he got, like, in 80s romances, like, they're very weird about booze. And so you can have 2 Coors Lights and drive into a tree like in Palomino, or you can have that much whiskey and be a completely different human, like in this book. I don't know. It's a very strange, alcohol in these books.
Okay, so she comes in. He starts basically, like, coming at her, slut-shaming her. She's like, you need to go. She's like, get out of my house. And she goes upstairs, and she's getting ready for bed, and she hears somebody, and she thinks it's her little girl because, you know, her little girl and her little boy live in the fucking house. It's bad. And, like, he's in her bedroom, and then the most upsetting scene takes place where basically he again we'll call it a ravishing because in the end she wants it, but like,
and it's very quick that she does decide she wants it. It does not take long. No,
but she's like, you need to go. Like, you felt like she was really scared, and
she's using her word. I mean, like that, like in a thing like The Bride, like she was saying, you need to go now. I do not want you to do this, and he was not listening to her.
She's like,
but she went into it extremely quickly, so it was clearly intended to be this fantasy ravishing thing.
And so
it's a horror movie to me where you have these fantasies about something and it comes true and it's terrible.
But then also, like, he's like, before, you know, he's like, I can't fuck you if you fucked Adam. Like,
oh yeah.
And then you find out, like, Adam's just basically showing her his, like, hotel models. Like, Adam's the best dude in this book. Like,
yeah, Adam was literally like, come up to my room and see my hotel models, and she was like, okay. And then
hotel models. And then it's like, hey, I've got hotel models.
He wanted to give her a business opportunity. He wanted to, like, see if she wanted to franchise, or not franchise, if she wanted to expand her business into more of his hotels, because I guess he thinks that potpourri is real classy.
Yeah, he's like offering her business opportunities and stuff. And so, like, this scene happens where it's very sexually aggressive, and not in a, like, ooh, fun way, but in a really, like, I can smell the alcohol on his breath. He's pushing me onto the bed, and then, bam, I switch over, and I want to do it with him. And I'm like, I couldn't even read the sex scene because I was like, this is so upsetting. Like, I just kind of like.
I did read the sex scene and did eventually find it hot.
Okay.
But with the caveat that, of course, it was incredibly reprehensible. It had no place in this fucking book.
The later one, well, we have to talk about the hammock sex because I don't believe that hammock sex. Is it possible?
No, because I have been in many hammocks in my life.
Okay. So, yeah, we flash. They have sex. They have this weird, awful, like, non-consensual, consensual sex. And then later, you know, he's like, oh, I wish I could stay. And she's like, well, you can't because I got kids. And he's like, okay. And he leaves. And she's like, well, I'll walk you home. And they do it in the hammock. Now, okay, hammock sex. I think that hammock sex will work if lady is laying down and you use the hammock as a sex swing, essentially. 2 people in a hammock, this while balancing in a hammock. Yeah, I was like, I call bullshit.
One of those old-fashioned rope hammocks with, like, the wooden spreader bars, right? It's not like your modern, I'm a hammock backpack.
Not the cocoon hammocks, not these things.
No, like, it's ropes. And for one thing, you know, you're going to get that all over your back.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're going to flip it because those things were so easy to flip.
Yeah. I was like, you've got 2 grown-ass people. Now, yeah, she probably only weighs 90 goddamn pounds. But still, like, they're going to be, woo, like, yeah. So, and then after they, like, as they're hanging out in the hammock, she says the phrasing to him, so what got you so pissed off that you got drunk and almost raped me?
Mm-hmm.
As, like, pillow talk. I was like, what is happening? So
Sandra Brown, we have questions.
and then he's like, oh, I didn't hurt you, did I? You know, like she's trying to
hey, that's not the question.
yeah, but like she's trying to like cover it after the fact to be like, oh, it's okay, it was really consensual. Like, and we'll talk about it more when we get to questions about this scene.
There's so much to unpack here.
So everything's going fine. He comes over for breakfast the next morning, and in the midst of breakfast with two kids, you know, papers get knocked over, and
we didn't tell about or did we say that she's actually been writing down her fantasies for her sister to send in.
So her sister had
all these pages and pages of handwriting, and when she started, she was throwing away and burning them and stuff. But now she's because I mean, like, hey, it's money, right?
Yeah. So her sister's like, it's basically like the girl version of Penthouse Forum, where she writes these fantasies down, and like for everyone that gets chosen, she has like $250. So she's been writing them. So in the midst of all this insane like breakfast stuff, another question, why are these out when she's got two kids? Can they both not read?
Well, I got the impression they were up on a high, like maybe on top of the fridge.
Yeah. So the papers come falling down, and she realizes that Thad has read at least some of these. So and
this is where I would crawl into a hole and die.
So she completely
I get this.
Loses her shit and says that like he's been doing this all along. There was an earlier scene where he had the flu and she had to take care of him, and she thinks that he faked the flu. And
it was later because she kind of hated his guts, but she wanted to make sure he wasn't dead.
Yeah, she goes in on him, and he's trying to explain, and she's doing that thing where like the romance novel thing of like not letting someone explain a thing, and then like she slaps him and like kicks him out of the house.
She slaps him.
Yeah. And so like for the next 2 weeks, she's just, you know, surly duck, yelling at everybody, yelling at her kids, yelling at her sister, like just everyone. And finally her sister has kind of a come to Jesus with her. She finds out that her writing got accepted. So she has like a $500, you know, check, and she has some champagne, and her sister's like, you're happy, but you don't seem that happy. And she's like, well, I think I blew it with that. And her sister's like, I'll take these kids with me, go bang it out with him. So she goes over.
That is your like that's your ride or die bitch there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna babysit while you go get fucked. That's your
Yeah. So she goes and like that. Puts on this like sexy outfit that he bought her earlier, and
this is apropos of nothing. It's just hot.
Yeah, she like goes over to his place in a trench coat and like is gonna make his fantasies come true. And you find out like the other thing with the fantasy was that he was being very, and again, it's still not acceptable. He was being very rapey because that's what she wrote about.
Mm-hmm. Which almost seems like an indictment of romance novels, doesn't it? Like instead of the other way around.
Yeah. So
I don't know, girl. The project of this book, as like a literature person would say, is unclear.
So they fuck it out. He asks, you know, they're going to get married, everything, you know, he goes back to being like great Thad. She talks about how, I guess, you know, it's like, I had this great business opportunity, but now I'm not going to be able to do it because we're going to get married. And he's like, do what you want to do. Like, I'm not keeping you from doing your dream job. Like, you do it. You love your job. I'm not keeping you from that. So he goes back to being amazing after that one gross scene. And so like all's well that ends well, you know, they're going to get married. She's got 2 stores. She's writing, you know, romance. So.
But she's not mad because he raped her. She's mad because he read her story.
Yeah. It was wild. Oh, and then she later apologizes for slapping him. But what she says is, I'm sorry I slapped you, but I was provoked.
Uh-huh. But you
like,
didn't do it, bitch.
I was like, all right, this is not very healthy either, Sandra. So this book was, and like, again, interspersed through these, you get these little like romance novel vignettes. So,
which are also like terribly rapey, but they're in that fun romance novel thing where everybody's not a real person.
And we'll talk about that when we get to questions about like where that hard ravishing works, like in what kind of books it works in and what kind of books it doesn't work in.
Not this one.
No. So I know usually like we have a little break for something, but we don't have.
Yeah, you're looking at our faces and it's weird because you know, if you're like on TV, I don't think you can always, no, you can't. Well, at least when I was on Jeopardy, you couldn't see yourself in every goddamn thing.
I know, like,
that's like,
I just don't know what to do with my eyes. Like,
I know. It's not getting any better. This is like what you're going to get. It's not like I have a way to improve it. I already clicked the box that says improve my appearance. It didn't do shit, by the way.
I don't have that box.
What?
I have an improve my appearance box.
It's in your settings under video.
Maybe I'm just so
no, it doesn't. I mean, maybe it does. No, maybe you don't need it. Is why you don't have it. But
that's it. Your hair's looking cute. Your quarantine hair looks cute.
Oh, but does it? It did not look cute this morning. But yeah, so what I want to do is do the whole like wide mohawk thing, and we were on our progress to that. We were on a hair project, and then I haven't seen so like when I go running, I have to do something with this. I have like this booster shit.
You just need to get like those little like the clips that do the
I mostly just kind of do this and put a big old hat over it. I'm better off than Chris Evans' dog. Did you see Chris Evans completely scared his dog's hair?
I had to do my dog's hair and it was hard. I will say, like, I've been like up in my vitamin game and like doing hair masks and like I'm not mad at this hair in this video. I'm like,
oh, I went no poo for like 3 weeks and then I decided that shit was for the bird, so I went back to poo. Yeah, I'm poo-ful again. I did cut my kids' hair.
Yeah. So that's our hair break. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our hair break.
Hair break.
How's your hair?
I mean, I'm really not mad at it. Like I said, vitamins and like stuff.
I can tell you, so my mom is in a retirement community. They are about to fucking riot.
Oh God.
Because you know how it is that older ladies have like their weekly like appointment, like you're at Friday at 10.
They don't know how to wash their own hair.
No. And they don't, I don't even know what set means, but they certainly don't know how to set it. Like, y'all just live with it for a bit. Maybe you won't want to keep coloring it. But I'm the gray activist at work, which is really funny because I don't have any gray hair. But I've been trying to get everybody at work to let their gray go for years.
You know what? You like, until you get part of the group. You
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. It's kind of like it's not own voices, but I've been.
It's really not own voices. So okay, questions. We'll do questions now. Okay. So big dick energy or big dick energy? It
depends on when.
Like overall, he's one of our better dudes. Like,
and he's hot as hell. I love a silver fox.
Yeah, aside from that one scene that is just the most out of place thing.
Weird.
He's great.
Was it supposed to be the alcohol? Because he literally had a finger of whiskey.
I don't know. I feel like, again, what this was supposed to be was supposed to be this ravishing. But, okay, so I guess we can talk about it with him. Like, it's a good enough place. So we haven't, like, The Bride isn't released yet, but we read Julie Garwood's The Bride. And, like, it's a well-known book. A lot of our fans have read it.
But when we say this, compared to, like, any Joanna Lindsay book, same thing.
Yeah, so basically what happens when ravishings work is when you have an insane storyline and everything is dialed up to, like, farcical levels. Like
she's slamming doors, and he rides a dragon, and he's slamming the door on the dragon.
She jumps out of a window. That happened in a Joanna Lindsay book. Like, she jumps out of a window to escape. Yeah. And so those books, that kind of stuff works. These no, yes moments. Mm-hmm. So this is very similar to the Ghost of a Chance, where, again, everything's very real life, but then you have this crazy sexually assertive dude being like, my virility is gonna, my penis is gonna be the thing that, you want the most in the world. And so it, again, that works for like a Viking or like a Highlander or like, a fucking chic. But then when you have just a dude who owns a construction company, it's a little too real life for it to be, cool. Now, I feel like if it had been a thing of like after they got together and he showed up like in a pirate shirt and like threw her over his shoulder and like tossed her on the bed, like that would have been fun.
But he was drunk and scared her. Yeah,
he was drunk and scary. So like again, I feel like she was trying to do a thing, but it just doesn't work because like Elizabeth is the most just like, they're both, again, it's real life. she owns a business. She's got kids. She's going to PTA carnivals. And then all of a sudden you're trying to do a ravishing in the middle of that.
And the scary thing is that a guy might actually try to do that with somebody like that, because this is somebody who is so uptight and is so kind of unable to kind of like,
let loose, I guess.
Flower. And yeah, so I mean, the whole thing, it was so out of place, but which was fascinating to me, because I mean, we could talk about this later, we can talk about it now, whatever. This is the first book we've had that is actually in a way interrogating this romance novel idea, which of course we talk about like a good bit about how it is a woman's fantasy, which is very common in books, in movies and stuff, to be coerced or to be talked into sex or to be in some way overpowered.
But I think it is a very real fantasy that some people have, and like if you want to explore that, it's great to explore it, as long as like you're safe and whatever, like consensual with it. Like,
just because women like to read about that and enjoy that fantasy, but does not mean that you want your drunk babysitter to pin you to the wall and your kids are in the next room.
Exactly. So I think
it was so out of place. It was insane.
It's like, here's this fun little book, and then all of a sudden this bomb gets dropped in the middle of it, and you're like, what just happened? Like.
And it was obviously supposed to be about that sort of idea of exploring the, kind of the break between women's fantasy and reality and, romance novel, what people really want. But it did it in this crazy way. Sandra?
0 stars on that. I mean, overall, I liked him. He was a good dude. Like,
oh, yeah, he was a great dude. He was hella hot.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was interesting how that kind of played out. Like, so, yeah.
I would read more of her. I really liked the book a lot, actually, except for that, like, what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I found it, like, a very charming.
Yeah, it was cute. I mean, again, it was cute. And then all of a sudden, it was like, they threw something in, like, what the hell? Okay.
It was well written.
Yeah.
But, the next one is, would you talk shit with her about the heroine? It was well written, but Elizabeth can go fuck herself.
I hated Elizabeth. Like, Elizabeth is this time, and you know what? Like, I know that there's this big push, and I get it to a certain degree about, like, unlikable heroines. I get it. There's a certain type of woman that I don't like. I'm gonna tend towards, like, the unlikable in that they're louder, brasher, like.
Right. Too much. Women who are too much are my girls. This woman is too little.
God, she was so boring. And like, again, it was that weird formal way that she had of like talking and being with her kids and like trying to break them out of the disgusting habit of licking spoons and like.
I had forgotten about that grocery store scene, but that really bothered me.
Yeah,
so what happened is she saw him in the grocery store, like, and then she ran into one of the other PTA ladies in the grocery store who said,
and then like she just totally.
Something completely innocuous, I'm sure. It was like, oh, I saw you with the young man the other night.
She's with him. Like, he's like, I'll help you. I'll carry your stuff. And then like,
she's like, no, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
she doesn't really apologize for it. She apologizes for like seeming like a two-faced bitch, but she doesn't apologize for, wow, that was incredibly rude of me. I am so sorry. A person should never treat another person like that.
Especially for somebody who's supposed to be all like, super prissy and like, blah blah blah, worry about etiquette and this kind of stuff. Like.
And I hated how she was like, well, for one thing, that she talked about feminism as a terrible, like, awful thing. But her idea of what is feminine was so boring. Her idea of what is feminine is like, like sandal toe, control top pantyhose, all right? Like, she wears that. And everybody our age is remembering going to the store with their mothers and you put your hand in the pantyhose sock and they never had anything my color because they don't make anything in just nothing.
Oh, she was wearing the white pantyhose too. The white.
Oh no, the nurse pantyhose?
Yes.
No. Well, I hope that she was, because the alternative would have been the Hooters girls tan pantyhose, and that's not good either.
Can't believe they're still having to wear that. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I know. Free the Hooters girls.
Yeah. Let them just be in shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, although, we got one of those restaurants downtown, Twin Peaks. I've not been in it, but when they were hiring, the hiring notice was extremely hilarious. But I technically fit in what they were asking for, and so me and my friends considered going down, and we should have gone down. You get free tanning. And we were gonna walk in like, what? What? I have not shaved my legs since Donald Trump became president.
This is your, like, you need to put
Yeah,
that
now
on
it's a
the
personality trait. I know. It's like a point of pride. But like I would have been like, what do you think? I'm wearing leggings. Yeah, I can't get it up. Hi, there you go. You can't even see it. But
shirt.
yeah,
The best part is you sort of froze there for a second, so it was like just leg and face, so enjoyable.
My glorious leg hair, which isn't even. I mean, I'm obviously not somebody who grows like really obvious leg hair because I don't grow really anything. I
feel like you should do an aside about your leg hair because it is your point of pride. It really is.
Yeah, well, so you have to have something.
I guess so.
You know.
Okay, Bechdel to bitch.
I like the sister. The sister. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure they talked about stuff that no, they did because they talked about her fantasy stuff to the the writing.
So it's interesting. It's interesting because her relationship with her sister is great. It's very real. They fight like sisters do. They're supportive of each other. I mean, mainly it's her sister kind of supporting her. We don't see a lot of Elizabeth like
big surprise. Elizabeth,
other than her being like, hey, you're a whore kind of thing. But like her sister is like supportive of her business, trying to get her to write. Her sister is the one that is like her biggest cheerleader when she finds out about the expansion, because at first Elizabeth's like, I don't want to do it. She's like, it's going to be too much money. And she's, the sister's like, well, that guy said that he would like help you with the loans. She's like, don't, her sister's really pushing her, and they don't just talk about boys. It's not like just talking about that. So their relationship is great. And it is one of the, I think the earliest books. I mean, the Nora Roberts one with the sister-in-law.
Yeah, that was early. That was early 80s.
Yeah, so it is an early book to have like a really good female friendship. We're still in the heyday of like blonde hair versus black hair fighting.
I do kind of feel that the earlier ones are going to have sisters, not like just friends. Because I think we're more able to imagine sisters as being allies.
So like as awesome as the sisters are, her crazy like just adherence to, societal norms or what she perceives to be societal norms. Like, but I guess that's like part of it because like she eventually evolves and grows from it. She stops caring about what people think about.
With this idea of what a young widow can do and what a young widow cannot do.
And I mean, I've never been a young widow in the 80s. I don't know, but like
1880s.
I know. I mean, like, you know what?
She acts like Netherford Hall has been let at last,
Yeah. But at the end of it, like, she's celebrating writing smut and getting paid for it. She's expanding her business, and her business is basically feminine things in a man's world that gets expanded. It's not.
I'm happy with her having a business that is a very feminine business. And it's funny to me that all of her customers are men.
Yeah, like she's not having to compromise her femininity to do it, or what her perceptions of femininity are. Like she doesn't have to change herself to like fit into this man's world. So, I mean, it is a fairly, and again, like with the romance novel stuff, like talking about women's fantasies and the things that women think about, like it's very forward thinking. But again, that scene, like we're always going to come back to that crazy scene. So. Yeah. I feel like it's on the better end of if you can just skip 5 pages.
Yes.
Like it's
on the whole, I like this book a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I guess like
long before you did. So you got texts like, what the, and you're like, what is that about? That's gonna be interesting when I get to that. And then
And I guess we should have saved, we have the When It Comes to Consent is the book more Robin Thicke or Marvin Gaye. And I feel like we kind of covered it,
Yeah.
I mean, again, like we've talked about, this would have been better served if it had been, again, an after the fact, like play out a fantasy in a safe, healthy way, or everybody be dialed up to 25, I
mean, honestly, it read a little bit like the alter ego of this book.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, can't you imagine like a truly disturbing horror movie about romance?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is that what you want?
Yeah, like, you always get those books where like the girl, like Austin, no, it's not Austin Land, but like there's Lost in Austin or whatever, where people get like sucked back into like, 1815 and it always works out amazingly. And it's like, yeah. But I feel like there's the Jordan Peele movie coming out that is a horror where somebody gets sucked back into.
Oh yeah, I saw a trailer for that. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately.
Oh, it's like it's gonna be a plantation thing.
Yeah, so
might even be called plantation. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's like Lupita Nyong'o, I think, is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. I forget what I saw the trailer for that, but I mean.
But yeah, like somebody gets sucked back to like like the only people who are in love with like Heathcliff actually go back to Wuthering Heights and like just have Heathcliff like fucking,
screaming on the moors again.
Look at this asshole screaming in the moors.
Like, I love Jane Eyre, but can you imagine you're minding your own fucking business and there's fucking Bertha again? Would you get your
oh my god, I'd be like, damn it, yeah, like.
I'm too practical to be in any of these books though, because I'd be like, but bam, shut your bitch up. We're trying to sleep down here.
I'd be like, I'll just be the governess. It's fine. I'll get the D. Like,
it doesn't pay. It does not pay, and you age out of it, and there's no retirement.
Well, I just mean like I'd be the governess, but I'd be like, yeah. I mean, but I guess like at the same time, I'm not gonna get anything. Like, he's not gonna buy.
You gotta lock that shit down, and if they come in and say, "Guess he was married before," I'd be like, "Fucking prove it. Say the vows, bitch."
Exactly.
I'm coming out of here with a clean towards. I don't remember the name of Rochester's house, but
oh God.
I'd know it if he said it. I'd know it.
Yeah, that's
because as a young woman, I had an unreasonable lust for Edward Rochester. As an adult, I still enjoy Jane Eyre very much, but I understand the problems with that.
Well, now you just want to fuck Rochester. Like, you don't want to be with him. It's just like, fuck him, go off to fucking India with that other guy. Like, I don't want to do.
He can't. He doesn't go downtown for one thing.
No, he does not. I don't know.
No.
No, I mean, he doesn't.
Edward St. Clair or whatever his name is.
I don't know, but I could see Rochester being a little jackhammery and thinking like that it's amazing. Like, it could be like the guy and be,
That's true. And, I think that we're perhaps projecting our idea of the perfect Rochester and not the actual Rochester.
Exactly.
Mm.
All right, next question. You're reading.
It's different, like looking at my face when I'm like, oh yeah. I would like to do things with this physical, this fictional character. How badly are you judging your mom off for reading this book?
Oh, I think this is like one of the ones that she would have had, something very similar to this. Yeah. And like, you know what, like I'm thinking about like the ones that she had and like the sexual violence in it probably wouldn't have, like I wouldn't even have blinked. You know?
Like as a kid, I would not have thought twice about this because I had read all these like
insane fucking books, like same thing. So
yeah, you read a couple of Joanna Lindsay's, and this is like
like this is easy.
Whatever. It's just that as an adult, it's a tonal mismatch. That's the issue. Yeah,
it's weird. Okay, would Scarlett Johansson be in the movie?
There's only white people in it.
Yeah.
There's not even an idea there might be non-white people in the world. So yes, Scarlett Johansson will be in this movie.
Okay. You're not leaving the house
looking like that.
Oh, there were some outfits. We had some outfits.
Yeah.
He bought that teddy. He bought a lace teddy.
I forgot about the teddy. Oh my god. Yes. It smells like some essentially fantasy lingerie.
Yeah. Like a white lace teddy.
And she's like such a fucking numbskull that he's all like, would a woman like this silk teddy? And she's all like, for your mistress.
And he's like, she's about your size. And she's like, oh.
For your mistress.
Oh my god. And then like basically
for your girlfriend, I guess. Like seriously, you don't go to a woman's store to buy some sexy underpants and not buy them for her, you dumb broad.
Dude, she dressed terribly. Like she was at the Laura Ashley store. Like that is what this bitch wore, was Laura Ashley. Those fucking lace collars, like
I used to wear, she dressed like I dressed for church as a 7-year-old, but as a 37-year-old.
Or like on picture day, my mom would make me wear those fucking dresses, and I was like, I want to wear something cool.
With like the square collars and like the lace around them. And
the sailor thing. Like I was like, I want to wear my cool sweatshirt that like hangs off one side. No, I had to dress like.
And those socks that you had to fold the socks down, and they had the lace around them, which you would wear with your And you were not allowed to wear, so you had those patent leather shoes, and they had a strap, and the strap could go behind the heel or around your
Mary
foot.
Jane's, your saddle shoes, your Mary Jane.
I had those. I had these like patent leather. They were on like flat pumps, and it's not a thing, but like flats that were like it had a low vamp, and but like you weren't allowed to wear them without the strap until you were a more mature child.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, and
that is how she dressed. Like no beige
petticoats. She's wearing slips.
Yeah. Oh, it was so stupid.
She's going. If you live in Columbia, she shops the Old Lady Belk.
Oh my God, yeah, she did. She was totally at the Old Lady Belk.
She wears cotillion panties.
Oh my God.
She does.
Terrible.
They go to here. They go to.
Like, I don't think she owned a pair. Like, she's like the type that calls like jeans dungarees.
Yes.
Like, that's for loose women. Like, I think she's one of those that thought if she put on a pair of jeans, like she'd break her hymen when she was younger. Like.
I'm having to milk the box. When you kind of like do.
Oh, where you got to take it out of the box and then you.
Not to that point yet. I'm very good at getting it before you have to like take it out and David Lynch it.
Mm-hmm.
I can get a whole lot. You let a little bit of air in, and then you kind of.
I got you.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm any good at hand jobs. I assume that no women are actually any good at hand jobs, but I am very good at box wine jobs.
The butter bag job. Okay. Would your 12-year-old self have dog-eared any pages?
Oh, hell yes.
Yes, I would have loved the whole romance thing too, because you got a lot more sex scene for your buck.
Yeah.
Because usually,
essentially, you're getting little romance novellas. Yeah.
Usually, what happens in these books, you'd have to like go through 100 pages before you got like one of your 2 or 3 sex scenes, and this one gives you like a bunch from the jump. So I would have loved that. I would have been like, yes.
If any of you are watching this for the first time and don't read romance, it's like in horror movies where you got that 20 minutes with assholes.
Yeah.
Before you see any of them die.
Yeah.
Gratuitously screaming with their guts coming out of their mouths. It's like that, except it's
you gotta work through some stuff, but like from the jump you get it. So I would have dog-eared so many pages.
Oh yeah. I mean, and even when they got down to it, now I know that you could not handle which is, I mean, a lot of people will not be able to do that. I swallowed my second stomach. And I
think I skimmed it, but I couldn't because it took me so out of it that I wasn't like, ooh,
she was as vulnerable as possible. And this is a woman who is, when she's getting dressed, very vulnerable. This is not a woman who's walking around like in her underpants all the time.
And also, this is her first moment of intimacy after her husband has died a violent and sudden death. And I was like, it kind of pissed me off that it was like taken from her. That this moment of like sharing emotional vulnerability with somebody was like presented in such.
And her kids are in the next room, so I don't think he ever says, somebody would say like you scream your kids, but she has to. I mean, that's there. Like that's a threat. Like that if I make too much of a fuss, the kids will want to know what's going on, and they're going to see this. And it was. Sandra Brown, contact us. We would like to speak.
I mean, she might have like a really interesting I
like it because this is the first, but that's what I found so interesting. This is the first book that we found that actually talks about female fantasy.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I felt like it was very much like this, like romancing the stone type thing. And, I thought that it was going to end with like her getting like offers to like write full length romance novels or something.
Yeah, I knew it, but I mean, the fact is like, I don't know, like so few of these books, which is weird, right? That it will have you stuck on a ship on your way to get back by the bay of whatever, as a bunch of court eunuchs test your virginity, but it never discusses in romance. You don't really have discussion of female fantasy. Yeah, what it's about, right? Yeah. But somehow, went astray with this, I don't know. This could have been our most interesting book.
Yeah, it was just, it was very strange. And then,
what pairs nicely with a dumpster fire?
Oh God, what?
She drinks champagne in it. Honestly, though.
He does lick champagne off her nipples, so I gotta go champagne. Like she does, like when she cuts loose, she cuts loose. So.
But it's not, that it's like shitty champagne. It's like 80s champagne.
Her sister bought it though. I trust the sister to buy good champagne. I trust the sister more than I trust her.
They drank shit that was way too sweet back in the day.
Oh my God, so gross. But I mean, overall, it was a good book, and I really enjoyed it. And
I would read another one by her for sure. We should read the one that they have the Susan Lucci movie about.
Oh, we should. That would be fun.
Yeah.
The Looch.
The Looch. It is very weird seeing my face during this.
I don't know if I
miss the floor by your couch, frankly. Like my butt is not.
I know.
Butt wants that carpet.
It's like you don't have the numbness.
Yeah. I know you better not be my groove, my butt groove.
Oh my
God.
God.
I know you're not, because I know.
No, I'm on the other side. So because the lighting was weird. Again, I keep just like looking at like, God.
How do I look? Like it's getting better.
It's my face. Yeah, it's not gonna get any better. But I'm all like, I'm sitting here doing this, and I'm all like, hey. We get out of quarantine. Like, just shoot some Botox right here.
What?
Dude,
do you think you have wrinkles?
I mean, I got like a little furrow.
No, like those are your 11s. They're your what? You work in a library. You get those from like the fuck did you just do? No, that's professional.
No, it's just funny because I'm always like.
Do you really want that to not move, and then you just Nicole Kidman through life? Is that what you want?
Yes. If I could have Nicole Kidman's life, like we don't shame anybody for their choices, and unless they're hurting other people.
No, so. I'm just thinking about those that photo shoot of her walking out of her attorney's office after she divorced Tom Cruise, and how ecstatic she looked. I'm just saying she couldn't look that way now.
Oh, again,
you don't want to go too. I mean, like you should. If you want to get like a thing, get a thing, but you should not go such that your face.
Well, they do little micro doses. Like it's not like
that
the
would
big
be one thing.
Yeah,
you can tell when people can't feel a feeling.
No, they do like little, almost like half doses where you just like fill it out. It's not, yeah.
Here's my eyes, remembering. Kind of
You're like, oh my God, these two bitches, this is the worst. So yeah, we will be sending out our invitation to do our book read along. I know a couple people actually like have copies. I was like, it's just gonna be me and Sarah talking about this book.
That would be okay.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be okay. But yeah, like
I would love to get Cousin Wade. Like to come and actually live give his. Oh my God, I would.
I think it would be really fun to have like a dude do it, like just to get a dude for first time.
Exactly like me. But he talks in this very South Georgia accent, and you can only understand maybe 2 out of every 3 words, maybe.
Oh, good. No, but yeah, hopefully we'll get some good participation, and it'll be something fun to do. Again,
this book is okay. Now I have not read it since I read it, but it should be a blast. I don't think
there's some another like, and again, we need to read some of hers because I remember reading hers. There's Catherine Coulter, and she has some Viking books. So I was like, nobody needs to deal with in the time of Rona, like
no,
the shit that is gonna be because
I don't need to see a woman whipped right now. I mean, give me a woman whipped later, okay?
Yeah, like I'll deal with it like again once I can go out like and be amongst people. I can deal with that, but not right now.
I've got one in my giant box of books. That's it's from the early '90s, so it's a little bit out of time period, but it's in Seattle about a wizard.
Oh, I love a wizard.
So I'm just saying maybe that can be our.
I mean,
I'll Lysol it. I'll read it and Lysol it, and you can.
Yeah, like maybe. Yeah, I'm.
We're cool only doing fun books right now. We're not doing.
No, and like maybe
no trauma. We're not taking on trauma right now.
Maybe if this our little Rona reader long works, maybe that we can do another one. But yeah, this has been our very special weird. God, I don't know how distracting I have been. Like,
this is what we look like.
This is our faces.
Best it gets. Well, I mean, I don't know about best Courtney gets. I have the little click box that says "make me look better."
I'm very upset about not having this click box. You know that
No, I tried it both ways. Trust me. I looked at it and it was like it just gave up. It was like, well, that's your face, bitch. And I'm like,
I'm the one that's more like concerned about that shit. So I'm pissed off that you got the box, and I'm just like, this is it. Like so.
No, I mean, actually, the funny thing is I actually look better in Zoom than I do on my YouTube videos, where I look like a sad fat lady who is really depressed, which, yes, but you didn't have to show that.
So when I did that, when I did my big wind-up video, I tried to do it via like just recording it, and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I don't know where to look, because I wasn't doing a thing, I was just talking. But yeah, and I'll be doing another one of those on Yuri on Ice, which is very interesting, and I have a lot to talk about with Yuri on Ice.
I want to watch that.
It's very good. So I was trying to I'm not going to get into it, but like I was trying to save it to like be like one of my big like last ones, like the finale kind of thing, like using all of the things that I learned about sports anime to like, discuss it. And it's not really sports anime. Like I think it is like, it's culturally important. And I think it might be a little bit of a turning point in like, because even before I had started watching these shows, like I had heard of it. Like it had been like in my, Yuri on Ice. People talking about it. It was a thing that I knew existed. And I did a little like survey for, for people, especially people who loved it and people who are like maybe non-binary or like LGBTQ, like, and it's a really sweet, special little show. And I think even if you're not an anime person, like it's good to watch. Like it might be the best thing that I've seen in a long time. And I think it needs more, credit. So, I mean, it's got a lot of credit. Like,
I've been meaning to watch it. I am intrigued.
Yeah. Like it's, when I talk to a lot of my friends who are, gay or lesbian, one of the things they talk about is like, all of our stories have to be fucking tragedies. For us to be interesting, our love stories have to end in tragedy. All of our stories have to be fucking sad. Like, it can't just be a nice romance for the sake of being a nice romance. And,
or just like, we're gay, but we're also pirates.
But Yuri on Ice is...
They hide a mystery.
Yuri on Ice, it's nice. It's a really sweet, it's romantic as hell, like, wonderful story, so...
Yeah, I would like to watch that. Sorry, Mr. Sarah is a little under the weather.
Oh no, feel better, Mr. Sarah.
Yeah, well, he's got my dad's robe on. It's not the Rona. I mean, probably not. We think we had that actually in late February, early March. I mean, we can't prove it, and I don't know that we trust any of the antibody tests. But yeah. I mean, we recorded one then, and I sounded like dog shit.
Oh, your voice! I liked it. You had like a Kathleen Turner voice.
Very sexy. Well, about once a year, I get a really nasty sinus infection, and I sound extremely sexy.
I love it.
Just wait it out. It'll happen again.
Well, I guess this has been our very special weird episode.
Make sure you catch up with us for our Rona read along. If you follow us on Facebook, you will see like a link to that. We don't just want to like share a link because like evidently like racists find out about those. So we're gonna send like we'll gather email addresses. We'll do that. We'll gather email and we'll send you.
We might do it again via Zoom, or there's an app called House Party, which you can't record, but we wouldn't be recording it anyway. So, and that's the other thing, like, don't not do it because you think we're going to record you. We're not going to record you. This is just something to do for fun. It's an extra thing. So.
Yeah, and we don't care what you look like. I mean.
And also it's just a fun way to, like, get to know everybody better. Yeah. Oh, and my other last thing before we sign off. So this has been, like, Courtney's quarantine of doing weird things that she would never really do. So 2 weeks ago, I played a game of Dungeons and Dragons for the first time.
How'd it go?
Well, we fought a lot of badgers. There were a lot of badgers in this game. Like,
okay.
So, my character was named Spite, and she came from the 1980s, and it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you had fun.
It was fun. Henry from Firestarters podcast was our person that did it. Whatever you call them. Like
DM?
Yeah, he was the organizer.
Sorry, GM. Because it used to be Dungeon Master, but there's not a dungeon. It's a...
Yeah, so he organized it all for us. So thank you, Henry. It was a lot of fun. It was me and two other first timers and then another guy that had played. So
that's really fun.
Yeah, it was.
I'm looking forward to watching that. Yeah.
I don't know if Hopefully they recorded it. I'm not sure. It was wild, but Dungeons
Well,
Dragons.
keep track of us on Twitter and on Facebook to find out about our Rona Reel Along, and we will let you in on that in a way that is safe, so that we don't get a bunch of weird Nazis on it.
Nazis are like just random dicks. I wouldn't mind a random dick. Like that would be kind of fun.
Well, it depends on it. Yeah.
I don't know. No, even a bad dick is a fun dick. Because you can be like,
that is fun. Yeah. When you can tell their moms about them, that is always, amusing. Yeah. If you are not used to listening to our podcast and you just found us on YouTube and you're like, who the hell are these bitches? We are Bodice Tipplers. That's bodicetipplers.com. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. We are part of the Frolic Network.
Yes.
I don't remember what that URL is, but
so Frolic Network is for all of your romance podcast needs. So just frolicnetwork.com, I think /podcast.
I think it's frolicmedia.com
/media.
I don't know, but I'm sure you can Google that if you're interested in that. And they are all good. They're fun.
Yeah, so they are fun.
Get on that. Until next time, the next thing we'll be putting out, we do have a podcast about The Bride. We recorded early in the quarantine when you could still see people. So don't think that we were assholes. We, got together in the last possible time to do it. And then we will do this Rona Reel Along. So until then, what was that? I don't even know what that was.
You're like the out of control. Cut it out or whatever.
Yeah. I'm Dave Coulier.
You are Dave Coulier.
So cut it.
You're just as cool as Dave Coulier. All right.